Hi Diego, howdy YouTube. Welcome to our show today. We are focusing on local pitmasters, and we're going to start with myself. Why? Because the other pitmasters I've been talking with about doing this show have been too busy. Some of them have had some stage fright, so I'm going to do myself first. Not because I'm showboating me, but because I want to give all the other local pitmasters an example of how easy it is to sit here and talk in front of the camera and talk about their passion, which for us all, it's barbecue. So I'm going to start by talking a little bit about what it takes to compete at a cook-off, at a festival, and even at the professional level cook-offs that you see on those cable shows with all the drama. Oh my God, his fire's going out and nobody in his pit crew knows how to keep his barbecue lit. That is lame, sorry. Anyways, we've got some onion salt. I haven't used this spice in years, so I'm going to use some onion salt as my salt. Nothing special, I'm just using it as a salt factor, and I'm getting rid of it by using it. We've got a little bit of chili powder that will help give it a bit of chili flavor. And then we have my favorite, garlic granules. And what I'm going to do is cook up some ribs. I'm going to cut them, because the smoker is small, I'm going to cut them in 1/3, 2/3 portions. And the 2/3 portions are going to get the dry rub. And the 1/3 portion is going to get a base of vinegar and apple juice, apple cider vinegar and apple juice. And it's okay to like not say everything perfectly when you're doing a video. This isn't, we're not getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for this, so don't worry if you flub up on camera. Everybody watching understands, we're just human. So anyways, we're going to put these on ribs. These are St. Louis style ribs, I believe, and we're going to smoke them on the smoker for about 2 hours. I'm going to take that brown sugar with a little bit of water, so it's just a nice light syrupy concoction. I'm going to apply that on top of the ribs with the dry rub to start building the sweet flavor profile. They'll probably be done in 3 hours, I'm guessing. If not, I'm going to foil them up at 3 hours and finish them off. Because in this smoker, there's no reason for you to give it more than 2 hours of smoke, to be honest. It's a very good smoker. It's not like using a kettle or some other type of barbecue to smoke. You're actually getting a lot more smoke factors in this. And this smoker did win multiple cook-offs and 2 festivals. So it's smoking is a very good method of cooking. So that's what we're going to do today, and we'll talk a little bit about the festivals and the cook-offs I've been doing and how easy it is to compete with very little money and very little equipment. We load everything in that minivan besides the barbecue. We're vending food, and we also have a display booth. So we have 2 tents, we're setting up, we're competing, and we're doing it all in just a little minivan. So it's not that complicated, folks. Thank you all for watching. I had a lot of bacon, so I did a bacon weave the other day, and then after it was done smoking, which took almost 2 hours, I rolled it up, and then I let it cool. And as you can see, it's kind of, you can kind of work it a little bit. So I'm thinking I could put hard-boiled eggs in there and roll it shut. A pancake kind of comes to mind, but what do you think you can do with this new concoction of weaving bacon and then kind of molding it when it gets cold? If I would have cooked this a little bit longer, it would probably not unroll and roll for me. And to be honest, I like it cooked a little bit longer. And that's it. You could weave bacon weaves. That's Let's have some bacon and eggs. Alright, I've rinsed and patted dry the ribs. Now we rinse them to get the germs and the toxins off, and you pat it dry so you can handle it easier. Sometimes the skin on the back is here, and like on this rib it has been removed. This one almost looks like it's been removed. It's really easy to remove once you get a hold of it. Sometimes they just tear all together, and sometimes they come apart in pieces. I think the trick is to peel it all off and then pull it that way. Now that we've got something to grab, if you don't remove that, it's going to be chewy unless you burn it crisp. And some people say it helps the smoke penetrate. There's not a lot of meat on this side, so who knows? Who cares? Okay. Or you can just simply go like this. Alright, next step is to salt these and let the salt sit on the meat for 15 minutes. Alright, now we're going to cut them. I'm going to cut them in 1/3 off. But I'm just going to do it by going through the thinner section. And you can tell by this chunk of fat that they leave a little bit on. I wish they'd leave more, but Americans have to cut fat off. So you're looking at 1 2/3, and it's right about here. And just put your knife on the bone and you cut down the bone. This is a little bit fatter than this section, so by cutting them off at that area, they'll cook more even. Alright, so it's a very simple process. You wash your hands clean. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to shake it with my left hand. And because it is onion salt, we're going to get a little more liberal with it than we would just salt. I like the taste of the meat really well, so I'm not going to coat it really hard with seasoning. It's about the smoke in the meat and a little bit of flavoring to me. That's basically all you got to do to prepare some ribs for smoking or barbecuing. I never grill ribs, so I really can't tell you what to do there. Like I said, most of the meat section is on the top, so I don't really worry about getting all my flavors on the bottom. Just the basic coat, and then, you know, because they're stacked like this, they're going to get some of that garlic powder, garlic granule, and chili powders anyways. And if you notice a spot you didn't season well, just add more seasoning to it. That's simple, folks. Now this stack of ribs and these ribs will cook at 2 different times because they're slightly, these will be done first. That's okay. We're going to finish seasoning these up, and then we're going to go start the smoker. Alright, now we've seasoned this stack of ribs with onion salt, chili powder, and garlic granules. These others we've just seasoned with the onion salt, and we've almost used up all the onion salt, so I'm happy. In this I have a 1/3 cup of brown sugar. I'm just going to put enough water till it's up to a 1/3 cup, and we're going to let that sit and just liquefy. And that's it. We're going to head out to the barbecue now. Hi Diego, howdy YouTube. Welcome to our show today. Well, actually, you've already been welcomed. Welcome back. What does it take to compete? Most people will compete with a Weber kettle or a Weber Smoky Mountain or two Weber Smoky Mountains and a Weber kettle. And as you've seen, I cook a lot with this Weber kettle. However, I found this Weber gas grill and this other brand gas smoker can do a lot more capacity than 3 of these. And when I'm trying to fit everything inside that minivan so I can make it to competition day, I need that. So I'm going with, and this is very easy to cook with. You set your heat. Once you know what that means, you can cook with it and not worry about it. The charcoal, your heat's going to fluctuate up and down all the time unless you're really on it. And you can do a lot of burgers, finish off stuff. I don't really use this to compete anymore. I usually just smoke everything. Even my gourmet burgers, I just smoke them for like 40 minutes and they're done. So I'm really turning to a gas smoker because of its ease, affordability, and capacity. Although I wish it was bigger. I would pay twice as much money for this kind of a smoker if it had been deep enough to do a full rack of ribs, and if it had insulation. If you double wall it and put an insulation in there, you're going to save me so much money on gas. I'm going to buy this. But instead, we're Americans where we have to build everything cheaply and not spend a lot of money for it. This was less than $200. This was less than $200. Under $500 here, and I can cook up a lot of food. However, this is not, by far, not a great smoker. It's got some, I'll go into that in another video. So what we're doing today, so as you can see, it doesn't take an awful lot to compete. At most cook-offs and festivals, there isn't a restriction on your gas usage. And the professional cook-offs, and they're not cook-offs, they're competitions, they won't let you use gas. You usually got to have charcoal. But they do make these smokers with charcoal. So my friend has a Brinkman that's real similar to this. And you could, if you wanted to, play with the box here and put charcoal in it. I've loaded that box up with wood pellets, and it turned into a gasifier because all the pellets started going off at once. So it's important to put just a little coating of pellets. I have a mixture of wood chips and pellets I'm going to start with. They're both apple. And then I'm going to, I have my water pan up here. I don't like my water pan being down here. It makes it really hard for me to tend that firebox. And the firebox being on the removable racks here make it very dangerous. It falls off a lot. Falls off under your flame, and it's super hot, and you got to have a really nice pair of heavy-duty gloves in order for you to be able to handle that. The blister there on that finger is because I did not have those gloves when I was cooking, and I had to grab that with thinner gloves and get it put back, and it was just a nightmare. So anyways, lightly load your chips. Don't want gasification going on there. If it does, add a little bit of water and that'll put it out. Your water pan, if you let your water pan get away from you, you're not paying attention, it'll dry out and turn into a grease fire. And the only way you can put this out is to float the grease back up off the bottom of the pan by adding a little bit of water. This is very dangerous and could cause a bigger fire if if the water pan overflows. You now have a grease fire all over your barbecue, and that's just not good. So a couple of tips: pay real close attention in these kind of smokers to your water pan and your smoking pan so they're not a fire hazard. My friend has one of these, and they have fixed shelves so the racks aren't removable, and you just slide it in and out, and it's not so much of a hassle or a danger. So it doesn't take an awful lot to compete at cook-offs and festivals. At the Mushroom Festival we had 3 of these and that gas grill, and we served several thousand tastes. And we won Chef's Choice and tied for second in People's Choice, simply because we didn't have enough food going out. We ran out at the end of the first day and the end of the second day. Just didn't have the capacity to make that much food. We have solutions for that next year. So it's real easy. We're gonna put some water in that box and start her up, and then we'll once it starts smoking, we'll put the ribs on. Alright, this is really handy in getting water into your grill safely. I've seen people use a funnel too, that works. I first saw Dan over at Smoky Goodness using this technique, and I happen to know that I can take almost 2 of these containers, so I don't have to worry about overfilling it. That's good to know. So we got some water in there, we got our chips, we're going to start her up now. Turn the gas. Alright, another really cool advantage to this is its gas ignition. It's that easy. It takes about 20 minutes to warm up. And I'm not going to start it now because I have to change out that thermometer. Maybe I'll do that at next cook. I don't know. We'll see. Just looking at this, I'm a bit confused on how we're going to be mounting this, but let's take it apart. Oh, it looks like it's moving normal. We got some wind going on today. Oh, I don't want that. There we go. Alright, it looks like the thermometer's responding normal. I had to tap the old one. So, looks like we got a bit of wind going on here today. I may have to... Wow, that's heating up a lot quicker too. So we're starting to get some smoke. Got some wind going on here today. I may have to move the barbecue around. I may have to... but I got water in it, so I can't move that one. So I may have to move like my bigger barbecue to provide a wind block. But for now, we're just going to see how it goes. It's not really windy, the chimes aren't hitting, and I'm happy that the thermometer appears to be working. We got some smoke going on. So I messed up. What I was going to do was cook 1 rack of ribs, not 3. I went ahead and prepared 3 racks of ribs. So what I'm going to do is put the 3 tip in a Ziploc bag and refrigerate those, and then cook the other 3 racks, the 2/3 of a rack. And simply because I don't want to use my rib rack, it makes it so you're not getting a good smoke if you use a rib rack. There's sections of your meat that won't get any smoke because they're touching each other and you're not flip-flopping them around. So we're just going to put them on their racks. We're going to start with the bone side down, meat side up, so they get some flavoring, and after about an hour, maybe 45 minutes, with the grill brush. But I noticed when I was handling them there was some soot. Use that one on them, so I'm just going to wipe the tops off to get the majority of that soot. Off the grill so it won't leave soot marks on the back of my ribs. Okay, we're going to start at the top. Got smoke going and that rack isn't even hot. Interesting. Alright, set your timer for 30 minutes, come back and add some more smoke. I'm going to go cut up some wood so I have chunks and I don't have to do it every 30 minutes. Otherwise, if you're using pellets and stuff, you pretty much have to add smoke to it every 30 minutes for your first 2 hours. It gets a lot of smoke in there. Boy, let me tell you, does that get a lot of smoke in there. It's just starting now. Alright, I just used this saw to cut this piece of chunk wood. see how that works.
I think that shot got it. Maybe we got it. Maybe not.
Alright, it looks like most of the pellets and stuff have burned up. So I'm going to toss a handful of pellets in there just to keep smoke going until the bigger chunk of wood catches on fire. Alright, now that we got smoke going again, I turned it down from 12 o'clock high to 11 o'clock. Kind of hard to see down there, but that's what I did. And she's a smoking smoker. Smoking coming out everywhere. So I cut off another 2 more pieces of this green maple. By green I mean it's fresh. I just cut the branch off. It's a lot easier to cut wood with a saw if it's green. And there we have it. There's our smoker smoking. We're going to set our timer for 30 minutes. To compete, and the cook-offs I've been competing at, they have very vague categories. So I turn in a spiral cut hot dog as one of mine. It's been taking first place under the anything turf category until Smokin' O's moved his ribs from Pitmaster's Low and Slow over to the anything turf category, and I took a close second. So I'm going to try and bump up the hot dog. I'm going to need 4 pieces of bacon. And the idea is spiral cut bacon wrapped hot dog. So first you want to wrap it so you know where to make your spiral cuts, is what I'm guessing. And then, like the normal bacon wrapped hot dog, you don't actually want it touching except at the very end. I don't know if that's really going to make it or not. Let's see. Alright, here we have rack of ribs number 3. Right before putting on the basting, just going to do some of that brown sugar. And first it beads up, but if you keep rubbing it, it'll start sticking to the skin. And if a little bit collects down below, that's fine. It'll just steam the entire rack of ribs. Nice looking. Get some sweetness on there. No bark whatsoever. This one did spring a leak. Maybe next time I'll put the meat side down. And I will quickly demonstrate. Oh look, it's falling apart down. That's weird. It wasn't at that high of a temperature. For cutting ribs, I go every other bone and I take as much meat off as I can. Oh my goodness, look at that smoke. Almost all the way through it. And then we skip a rib and we go to the next rib over here. And we cut it off. And now you have a nice, meaty, fat rib. And if you're going to turn a rib in, you should turn that in instead of maybe...
That's good.